Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's come to a best practice right now, a concept for high-quality finishing and sustainability explained by the PrintCity Alliance. To promote and to develop the value of printing and packaging, this is the claim of this institution. And for this purpose, they bundle their competence over the whole value chain. Of course, we have to talk about this in deep. So we would like to start now our panel discussion. And for this, I would like to welcome now your host. Please welcome Kuhn.
Yeah, thank you, Maxi. Thank you for this kind introduction. A warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us here in our session and sharing the next good half an hour of your time here with us in this virtual world. Thank you. First of all, to IST for giving us the opportunity to be here and to sharing us hopefully some valuable information with you. We have a group of members here in our discussion. Some are here personally, and some are then joining in also virtually. We talk about premium packaging produced with LED UV. So it is about premium packaging, but a very strong focus is on the environmental aspects. Therefore, we developed a concept which we call Better Human. These are a couple of samples we produced in this context, showing premium packages, but always looking on the environmental aspect and from this side. And we would like to start with the environmental aspects, joining in and following up the presentation from our colleague from Siegwerk. We will touch a couple of aspects. It is not only about recycling, it is also about sourcing of products. It is about production of products which are then used for the package as such. Most of these things cannot seen in the package, but this takes some explanation, but they are, of course, equally important because the pressure from the market, from the legislation, from the brand owners comes to the printers and comes to us, and we have to give answers for that. When we talk about packages, in most cases or in many cases, we talk about board, we talk about paper board packages, and therefore we would like to start with this aspect in the first step. I'd like to introduce to you Dennis Grotian, Technical Service Manager for Metze Board. Dennis, we used fresh fiber board here in this project, and if you would please give us a bit of an insight why we did this and what the environmental parameters are here.
Yes, Rainer, many thanks for the introduction. So, absolutely correctly, we used a fresh fiber board. Just briefly, some few words about the board as such. We have selected our Metze Board Prime FBB Bright folding box board grade because of the challenging and demanding production processes and finishing processes, for example, printing, varnishing application, but also foil transfer application, embossing, and so on. We tried always with our products to combine premium solutions, premium products, and sustainability aspects. It is a fresh fiber product, as you have mentioned. It is a fully coated folding box board grade, fully coated on top side, but it has also a coating on the reverse side. And the sustainability aspect in this premium product is we are producing fresh fibers within the Metze group. We have then the possibility to utilize, for example, a very big share of bioenergy in the production processes, and that is this sustainable value when it comes to environmental topics. But sustainable approach also tackles all different kind of other topics as well. Sustainability can also, for example, lightweighting means we try to make the material lighter in the future as it is today, and providing the same strength properties, the same mechanical properties that the packaging itself will protect the good in the best possible way.
Dennis, in this project we focused on samples which you normally and usually find in the point of sales with a window to look at the product as such. Here we always developed constructions which avoid this plastic and windows and produce mono-material packages. This is for earbuds. We also have a board blister for earphone. So all products which you normally find in a mixed material. Can you say a word on this mono-material issue? What is the development in the market there?
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. So this approach to have a mono-material packaging solution as such, that is something what we are following globally since a while right now, and it is also consumer driven. So means that the consumer wants to have a more, I would say, a simplified but also premium packaging and attractive packaging, but they want to have in mind that this packaging can be recycled easily. And for that reason, within these samples of Better Human, we made these packaging construction completely plastic free. For example, also the inner part of the packagings are completely plastic free. Everything is made of folding boxboard. And Rainer, as you have mentioned correctly, we skipped in a way this plastic patched window to have a monomaterial packaging which can be easily recycled with the implemented recycling systems.
Yeah, this means in any case you need to start at the beginning and have already the end of the life cycle of a product in mind when you design it. Thank you,
absolutely,
Dennis, for
correctly.
now. I think we will come back later to the carton board in a second round. Next, I would like to introduce to you Bastian Pinsenschaum. He is technical service manager for Weilburger, head of technical service. And of course, all these packages carry a lot of varnishes for different reasons. And this also has a very important environmental impact. Can you give us some insight on that from the varnish side?
Thank you, Rainer. Yeah, from the varnish side or from the coating manufacturer side, we have analyzed what can we do in this case. So the first step is we had a look on our energy consumption and decided to go there in a green way, let's say it in that way. So we have a photovoltaic plant with creates 20% of our energy. We have a biomass plant which creates heat and also electricity, and the missing link we sourced by green energies. So at the end of the day, where all of our energy is produced on a sustainability way. This is one point of our, let's say, look at this key facts for sustainability and environmentally friendly. The other points are our production itself. We have a very modern production line which we installed 2 years ago. We think it should be the modernest in the world at this point, which allows us to reduce our energy consumption, our raw materials during the production, and also our cleaning processes. This had also an influence on our production. Yeah.
So this means your company is CO2 neutral completely already?
Already, yeah. We have all these steps allowed us to get in contact with Climate Partner, and at the end of the day, there's a lot of analysis, and we are now covered our carbon footprint completely and have also some project that we are, let's say, which we are helping, or let's say develop to cover this missing link for our carbon footprint. So at the moment we are really CO2 neutral.
Okay, I think these are always also messages which need to be given to the market, and also to improve, let's say, the partially bad reputation of the packaging market. When we talk about premium packages, of course, in many cases we talk about cold foil, we talk about hot foil, and this is also has an environmental impact, because the word foil suggests in many cases bad impact on the environment. I would like to introduce to you Linda Grön, business development for Leonhard Kurz, and Linda will start with a statement that my introduction was actually wrong. Morning, Linda.
Yeah. Good morning, Rainer. Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, your statement was wrong, because we avoid foil, because the word foil, because actually it is not true. If you use cold transfer or hot stamping, you will only apply a really thin lacquer package, also an aluminium layer, for example, but the PET carrier is peeled off during the application process. So on your label or on your packaging, there will not remain any foil.
Okay. There's a concept which you developed over the last months to work on that, to recycle the material which is used in the production. Can you tell a little bit about that approach and that new concept?
Yeah, actually, to be honest, we need a PET carrier to produce, to transport, and also to apply our product. And we are using a 12 micron thick PET carrier. And we know that this is, for a lot of customers, a problem. They are asking us, yeah, what should we do with this waste? We generate a lot of PET waste. And so last year, we established a recycling plant in Fürth, in Germany, where we can recollect the used PET carrier. We do a mechanical recycling, and we produce a granulate, which is called recopound, which is high injection moldable from it.
Before this event here, you sent me a sample, which in the first moment I could not really identify what it is about, because it does not look like a print sample. But then you told me that this is one of the products you produce out of the recycling PET.
Yes, this is actually only a promotion example. These are some coasters with a concrete look. So this granulate, you can decorate it again. So this is decorated with in-mold decoration. But this granulate or this recopound, you can use for different kind of products, also for the logistic industry. For example, we are producing our plastic packages for our magnetic stripes, for example, with this recopound. And we are looking also for further products to use actually the PET waste and generate, to recycle it and generate some new products from it.
Maybe one more word on the recycling of the packages. The product which is applied with your process onto the package is very thin. And I think it's much thinner than you normally would believe and think of.
Yeah, actually, we apply an aluminium layer which is 0.02 micron thick, and I really like the comparison that is actually 6,000 times thinner than a human hair. So it's really, really thin what we apply on your packaging.
And so this means this layer has no negative impact then on the recycling process, for example, as the colleague from Siegwerk explained just before.
Yeah, our decoration can be de-inked, and also we have a certificate for it, and we also got a certificate regarding compostability, because in a lot of countries, to be honest, there is no existing recycling system. So there the topic is what happens if my package ends in the ocean, in landfill, and so on. And here we also got run tests, and we got a result that our product is a safe additive regarding compostability and does not harm the plant growth.
Okay. So thank you, Linda. We come back to this topic later during this session. I would like to introduce to you Stefan Feil, Head of Application from our host IST. And this is where the product, the last boxes have been produced. So all the materials which we have heard about before come then together at a machine, of course. And this also has environmental impacts. And you will explain a little bit about the difference of the conventional UV and the LED UV technique with a special focus on the energy and on the environmental aspects.
So, Rainer, you are totally right. And I think we all of us have to get an idea how we can protect our environment. And on the hardware side, there's one clearly statement. If you are looking into LED energy, we have the possibility to save some energy, and saving energy means also to protect the environment from the CO2 ballast. And let me get a chance to talk to you in concern of possible savings. So an LED system, there's one big difference to a standard UV system. An LED system will save energy while it is switched off. And switching off means during a print process, there is a lot of stops. There's a lot of going down the machine, make ready times, for example. And every time the machine stops, the LED is just switched off and therefore saves some energy. Besides this, a standard UV system will go down to minimum level, which is around 30–40%, and will take some energy. So LEDs off means saving energy. The second point is, I have here on my list, is the reactivity of the ink. So you can imagine if the ink is more reactivity, it will take less energy consumption and therefore again saving some energy, and this also saves you as a producer of these products costs. But this is not all in concern of energy saving. The LED has even some more potential to save energy. I have shown here you some slides. We have another possibility. This is format switching. So format switching means we can, depending on the printing size on your print product or within your printing machine, we can reduce the format which is illuminated via the LED. The standard for our UV system is here 30 in steps of 30 millimeters, but we even have an option to go down to 15 millimeters for this format switching. The last point here on my slide is the clocking. So what does mean clocking? Clocking means very often you have intermittent processes. Means there's a gap between the products. And even, again, looking into sheet fed printing, there is always a gap between our sheets. And between these sheets, we have the possibility to even switch the LED off. It's that fast, it will work. And this works on the impression cylinder as well, so on the cylinder or in the end of the press, in the delivery, because we always have this gap, and this gap is somewhere around 20–25%, means switching off, saving energy. Okay, this was the short introduction how we can really protect our environment. We want now to talk about the process, how we did realize this human packaging, and therefore back to Rainer now.
Thank you, Stefan, for now. Yeah, as Stefan said, we are now leaving this environmental aspect for more back to the product and to the samples as such. All of them carry a lot of beautiful decoration and embellishments, and we will now show you what we have done, and at the end also how we have done this and what needs to be respected. As before, we start with the board because this is the starting point for each of these packages. And back to Dennis, why did we choose exactly this board and with properties does it have so that it fulfills our requirements here in the project to an optimum?
Yeah, the optimal outcome and the variety of applications we need to consider it in the planning phase was more or less then the point that we have decided, okay, we need to go for our MetSupport Prime FBB Bright grade. The good properties of the board, as mentioned, it is a fresh fiber folding box board grade, means we have no recycling fibers in our making process, but that allows, for example, this lightweighting, means the substance as such can be selected lighter. We have then the possibility of less environmental impact, but to contribute all making processes, for example, printing, die cutting, creasing, and so without any compromises. So these strength properties and surface properties of the product are contributing the state-of-the-art making processes without any compromises.
Yeah. We used here also an backside and inside printing. I think you mentioned it at the beginning already, but can you say a word why we did this? Is there a development in the market? Is there a request from the market to also use these backside and inside printing?
Yes, we see from my personal point of view, we can follow a trend that also a package as such attracts the consumer if at that moment when the package will be opened at the consumer's end, and then they have a special feeling. So for that reason, also the inside of the box and what is there to see, maybe a very nice and just pure and white surface, or even if the inside of the box or of the packaging is decorated with some graphical arts, as in the example. It is requested for a couple of applications, and we can follow that for luxury packaging, for premium packaging, it is an even more important topic. It is a challenging and always demanding process to cover both sides of the board with print applications or foil application, for example. But it is a request from the market for luxury packagings.
You mentioned lightweight before. Lightweight with respect to the stability of a box, which is also a property, of course, we need or the market needs. How do these two things relate, the lightweight paper and then the stability of a package?
So lightweight paper and stability, it comes from the making process and how, for example, the prior step, the making processes of the used pulps for our products is designed. So we have the possibility within the Metso Group to produce our own tailor-made pulps from wood, from fresh fibers, and so for that reason we have the approach and the starting point that we can adjust the parameters and adjust the products and the raw material in a way that we can produce a light folding box board, but which is strong in the same moment. And that is sustainable, and that is something what needs to be communicated also to the market and also to the consumers, that a light fresh fiber board grade is something what contributes sustainability aspects.
Thank you, Dennis. So this is now the board, and now comes all the embellishment and the value-added stuff on top. And in this process, we started with the cold transfer process, which was also done at the facility of Kurz, and this was then later on overprinted and with varnishes. We come to this in a second step, but Linda, can you tell us a little bit which products have been used, why they have been used, and which effect they then have at the point of sales?
So for these packages, we used our product, which is called Lightline. For example, for the packages for the headphones, we used our KSO Lightline Infinity. And for the lady shaver packaging, we used our KSO Lightline Space. So why Lightline products? The Lightline products, they have an holographic effect. So it's a really beautiful effect which plays with the light, and you get rainbow colors depending how you move the packaging. And furthermore, this was cold transfer, and furthermore we used also hot stamping. And hot stamping is often used to have also an haptical effect and also really high gloss for the packaging.
So then the hot stamping is then used at the end of the process and is then in addition to the cold transfer to highlight special issues like the logo as such.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can also just use cold transfer. It depends what kind of design, what kind of effect you want to achieve. But often hot stamping is used here really to, for example, to make a focus on the logo, for example, on the packaging, the better human. And also for sure, you can combine these two effects. And cold transfer often is used for more like areas, not only like letters. And yeah, so you can play with these two effects.
Yeah, here in this case, we also used a blind embossing with some varnishes for the earphones, for the earbuds to highlight the product, because you cannot see it without a window. So we need to put a focus, an optical focus on this as well. Yeah, thank you, Linda. In the next step, then it was over.
Printed?
No. It was overprinted. So the next step then in the process, of course, are inks and varnishes. Our colleague from the inks, unfortunately, is ill, but Stefan later on will say some words. But now we come to the varnishes used in these products. And varnish always have two aspects. This is protection, and this is effects. What have we done here?
Okay, thank you, Rainer. In this case, we had a look at the design at the beginning of the process. As you know, we had a lot of teams meeting to talk about what we can do to have the best possible effects. And if you look about this very nice decorative film, we decided really at the beginning of this design process that we not should destroy it, we should just enhance it with our coatings. This was the idea that we use a hybrid effect, but not in a common way. We used it with a very, very fine wave design just to pronounce this effect a little bit more. Furthermore, with this hybrid effect, we created also a tactile effect, which you can feel if you have this box in your hand. And this is a really, really amazing looking box at the end. So, and the last step was we use standard coating from our range together with a Merck color effect pigment to have a really, really nice metallic effect in these green areas here.
Okay, so then this varnishes fulfill the decoration effect, gives an haptical dimension to the, let's say, flat cold transfer.
Correct.
And then also serves for the protection of the... So we did not need an additional protection layer.
this was not necessary because we used the UV process in this case, and UV coatings are normally have a very, very high resistance. So.
Okay, thank you. And we already now talked about the sequence of how we applied all these embellishments, but Stefan will now really show into detail how this was done on the machine and some challenges we had in this aspect as well.
Yeah, back to me now. Let me get a chance to first talk about the inks. The inks is supported or delivered from Zeller & Melian. The series here is called FCM LED ink. So you may get in trouble a little bit about the expression FCM, but FCM has more or less replaced the expression LM, low migration. So FCM then stands for food contact material. And this is exactly the ink which we do use here. So this ink has quite a good color impression, high mechanical resistance, and what is very important for us as a printer, high process stability and fast processing. Beside this effect, we can also say that this ink is possible to run with LED drying equipment or UV equipment due to the sensitivity by 385, 395 nanometers, and therefore we can use this ink. But I have to say, as long as you are using an IST drying system, you will not have any trouble. So this brings me now to my next slide. The next slide will explain a little bit about migration. This ink has a special formulation, and this means how mainly the photoinitiators, because the photoinitiators is using a certain molecular weight. We talk about 1000 Daltons here, means the molecules in principle are bigger. And what does this mean? So if you have got a mesh and you want to do some sieving, and you have a very big sand grain, it will not fall through the mesh. And this is exactly what is happening here with the ink. So the molecules are that big that they will not get through this mesh, and therefore you can avoid migration issues. The next slide then talks about the equipment, as Rainer already did announce. So the machine which we do use here was a 7-color machine, and within the 7-color machine I have marked here the blue one, number 1. This is the interdeck positions, and these interdeck positions are, as we call it, fully interchangeable. So this means it doesn't matter if it is an LED or an UV system, it will do the job. We call this also hot swap because we can just interchange these systems, and the background or the logical, the PLC in the background will recognize automatically and therefore will choose the right power supply. So we have 7 positions here for this interdecks, and now on the end of this press it's marked here as number 2. We have the end of press, and there we have 2 positions for the UV and 1 position for the LED, which leaves us quite a full package open. What system we can use at what position means we really full flexibility here. The next slide then, I'm getting you now a closer view on this print product here. We did also already talk a little bit about this print product here. We have in the first step this offset glue and then this metallic silver. With the second step, we have then the offset process colors, which means black, cyan, magenta, yellow, followed by the process colors, and then comes this effect Fabian did already talk about. This is the effect with this hybrid together with the coating to realize these very fine structures here on my folding box, as you may. I try to hold it here in the camera. As you may see here, these waves which are therein, which we try to realize there. We have then to get on a drying system with all of this stuff, and last but not least, followed by another flexo unit. This is the pearlescent coating, which is also there on this box. And if you want to produce this product here in an ideal world, we have to select an 8-color machine with a double coating. But, and we are not in a real perfect world, we have just a 7-color machine, as already mentioned. And what does this mean now? We have to separate this print shop here, in principle, in 3 passes. So the first pass was done directly on the cut side. This is the glue and the transfer silver. And then the second pass and the third pass was done on our machine here. This is the 7-color machine, which means we have one pass, which is the process colors, the Pandone, the hybrid, and the clear coating. And we also have the pearlescent coating in a third pass. To get this job done, we did really have to cover some challenges, and the challenges are now shown here up. The first challenge is about ink and board, because we have to register the second pass, which involves now the inks, to the first pass, which is the silver, which we did transfer there on. We also have to care about the uniformity of this print, because we have different surfaces, and we have to care about the adhesion. We have to stick the ink to this metallized surface, to the silver here. Now, another glance to the hybrid varnish, to this coating. In this case, we have to register these coatings. This is also a flexo process. We have to register the flexo process to the offset process. And we really have to be quite sensitive in concern of the dampening to create these very fine structures here on our packaging. The coating itself was then applied with an Anilux roller of 140 lines per centimeter. This has to do to create, on one hand side, a real glossy surface, but on the other hand side, really to get a smooth surface, and therefore this special configuration of the Anilux roller. So this leaves me the third pass on our machine, and this is the last pass now. We have to register then with the pearlescent coating, again flexo to flexo, and we also have to select a special Anilux roller. The pigments for this pearlescent coating are much more bigger, and therefore we have selected an Anilux roller with 110 lines per centimeter, which leaves enough space to get the pigments within these dots from the Anilux roller. And this was already said, surface quality quite important. We have to create a glossy quality and quite some resistance on this surface here. Yeah, and if you're done with this, you are quite happy and you have realized this box here. And that's all from my side now, and I want to get back to Rainer.
Thank you, Stefan. I think we are now at the end of our time here, but I don't want to leave you without raising your attention to so-called tutorials, all what you have about production, about products, how they have been applied, what design things have been taken into account, all summarized in these tutorials, which you can download from our homepage or get through your contacts with our member companies. We have also summarized all the environmental issues in a 4-page folder, Better Human, Environmental and Sustainability, also available as a PDF in download. So, thank you for your time. I hope you got some valuable information for your business. All the colleagues are, of course, ready to answer and to contact you whenever you have questions. We hope you have another good hours here at the IST UV days, and wish you all the best for the future. Bye-bye. Back to Maxi.